Good morning and welcome. Thank you for joining the Child Care Business Coach podcast. My name is Evelyn Knight. I am so happy you're here. We are going to talk today about problems. I just want to kind of go over some issues with you today, and it just feels heavy lately, doesn't it? It feels like there's just so much happening all the time. There's just one more thing to deal with. We're in the new year 2023. It's not even February yet, and there's this feeling already of a lot. Who also feels that? And if you're joining me on the recording, say hello. Let me know you are here. I love to know that you guys are here. My microphone just kind of looks funny in the camera view today. Let me know that you are here. I would love to say hello. But let me know in the comments too. Who feels heavy? Like, wow, it's only January 23rd. We're only 23 days into 2023. And it's already so much. It already feels like so much has happened. It already feels like just a big year, right? It's like it was supposed to be a fresh start. It was the new year. Everything's supposed to be butterflies and roses. It's the new year. But there's just so many things coming at me already. The year already feels heavy. How many of you are feeling that? And be honest, it's okay. How many of you are feeling like it's already so big, right? Yes, I see we have some comments that it is. And I can see comments a little bit different than you guys because I see everybody at once, whether you're on YouTube, Facebook, I see all of you at once. So yeah, it does, right? So I want to ask you, have you ever lived a life without problems? Has there ever been a season in your life where it was perfect? Anybody live a season when it was perfect? I'm just wrapping. Yeah, I see. I'm just wrapping my books for 2022. It doesn't feel like 2023. I know. That's kind of how I feel. I'm like, it just kind of just flows, right? So no, there has never been a yes when I was a child, right? Yes, yes. Going back to our childhood, that is when it was perfect, right? Well, let's talk about that. Why is it that when we were children, it was perfect? Why is that? What is it about childhood? When you look at the children that were around all the time, what is it about them? There's problems happening to them. Honestly, there is problems happening. But they see it differently than we do, don't they? Their lives are just like ours. They're experiencing things too. It's just on a different scale, right? It is on a different scale. I mean, look at the children in the classroom. We say, oh, when we were children, life was perfect. But really, was it? How many of your children today are going to argue with their friends over that toy that you just have to have? And I know to you, it feels minuscule, but to them, that is huge. We all have different levels we live in life, right? When you're a new mom, what seems huge to you, to someone in my stage of life, isn't going to be such a big deal. Because where you are in life dictates how big your problems are. Where you are in life dictates how big your problems are. So that means something, right? What do you guys think that means? Let's take this into perspective, okay? When you're a child, the problem of having to share is huge. The fact that you have your favorite baby doll, but it's somebody else's favorite baby doll in the classroom too. That is everything. It's this huge, overwhelming problem. It is your all. It consumes you, right? But as adults, we think that's all you got to worry about. Try paying bills, right? And then you become a teenager, and suddenly your image and what your friends are saying, that is everything. It is everything to the point that so many teens commit suicide over it. But then at our stage of life, we look back like, God, that was so stupid. Why would you put your whole life into that? We see it from a different lens and a different perspective. And then we go to college and we're fighting and fighting to get that grade. And we graduate, we pass a class with maybe a 2.0, right? It takes our cumulative GPA from that 4.0 or that 3.8 we wanted so bad. And now we're down to a 3.3. And we're stressed to the max, right? And I'm giving you guys real life scenarios here for me, where it's just like the end of my world just hit because I didn't get that 4.0. I just destroyed my 4.0 and my world is over. And now here I am 20 years later. I don't care what my GPA was. How many people do you think asked me what my GPA was in my entire life? Zero. Nobody has ever asked me. So why did it matter then? Why was it so important to me? Why is sharing that baby doll so important to that child? Why is how your peers see you so important to that teen? Why is that GPA so important to that college student? Why is the image that your child puts on, the clothes that your child wears when you send them off to kindergarten, so important to you? For me now, I don't care at this stage in my life. When my child was in kindergarten, I cared, but now I see how minuscule and unimportant that was, right? So let me ask you again, how many of you are overwhelmed with problems in 2023? And let me ask you another question. In 2033, will the problems that you are allowing to consume you today, will they matter? Will you even remember they existed? Lisa, in the comments, you said, I wish I had a perfect moment. You do have perfect moments. You have them every day. But you choose not to see them because all you choose to see is the imperfection. That's it. It is a choice. Everything we do is a choice. How we perceive the world is a choice. How we see our problems is a choice. Again, life is 50% good and it will always be 50% bad. There is always going to be a problem. But does it have to be a problem, or can it be a solution waiting to happen? What if you started looking at all the problems in your life as opportunities? What if you change the word every morning in your mind, every time you think, oh, great, I got to go do this today, and think, I get to do this today. This is an opportunity for growth. And again, will it matter in 10 years? Some problems, they do. Absolutely, they do. There are things we all go through in life, right? Like if you lose a business, if you lose a spouse, you lose a child, in 10 years, in 20 years, in 50 years, there are things that will always, always matter. There are things that will always consume us, and that never goes away. But what about the day-to-day things? How much of that do you choose to allow to consume you? Why do you give it the power? I want you to ask yourself, why are you, so I'm going to go back up. Why am I giving my daily, everyday, normal struggles this much power? I choose to live the life I live. I choose to see the struggles that I face. I am creating my struggles. What if you said that every day? I choose not to create a day full of problems and struggles. I choose to create a day full of opportunities instead. I live a big life. I live a really big life. I own a couple companies. I take on a lot. I could not live my big life if I focused on problems. I do. I catch myself all the time, waking up first thing in the morning, thinking to myself, okay, I got to do this and I got to do that. And I snap out of it, right? I tell myself though, I have to tell myself constantly, stop, Evelyn, stop. And I purposely call myself by my name. This isn't worthy of your time. It's not worthy of your attention. And one of the questions I've come to ask myself throughout my life as I started facing bigger and bigger things, when I realized I wanted a bigger, better life for myself, when I realized I wanted joy, I no longer wanted to struggle. I no longer wanted to wake up every morning thinking, oh God, it's another day. And I wanted to wake up thinking, thank you, God, it's another day. We get that choice. And when I woke up one morning and thought, this is not the life I want for me, I want so much more, I decided to force myself to snap out of those thought processes. And so what I did was I started asking myself, in 2 years, will this even matter? In 2 weeks? And I kind of go through this process where I ask myself, okay, in 2 weeks, how am I going to feel about this? Some things, yeah, they're big. They're big. In 2 weeks, I'm still going to be dying inside, right? So then I ask myself, okay, what about 2 months? How's it going to feel in 2 months, right? And I don't know why I just chose twos. But then if 2 months still felt too big, then I would ask myself, okay, 2 months still feels a little bit big. So how am I going to feel in 2 years about this? And most of the time, I think to myself, yeah, I'm probably going to laugh about it in 2 years. It's not going to matter in 2 years. Think about something in your life. And if you guys are brave enough, share it in the chat. Think about something in your life that was huge for you, even if it was your childhood when you were in high school, but it seemed like it was the whole world and you felt like your life was over because this one thing was happening to you. And you literally felt like, oh, how am I going to go on? What am I going to do? And now you look back at it and it's kind of funny. You just kind of laugh at the whole situation. And it's like, oh, I remember the time I did that, something like that, where now it's just kind of funny that it happened. We all have those stories where it's like, oh my God, it was such a big deal then, but now it's just hilarious. And we laugh about it today, right? Yes, cheer tryouts. Oh my gosh, right? Absolutely. Cheer tryouts. That's a great one where it's just funny now. But at the moment in our lives, we allowed it to steal so much of our happiness. We allowed it to take from us. So I want to ask you, what this week, what problem are you facing that you are allowing it to steal your joy? And I want you to ask yourself, is it really worth it? Is it worth allowing this problem? I know it seems huge and I don't want to minimize your problems. I really don't. But I want you to ask yourself, is it really, really worth stealing this week of my life? In 2 years, is it going to matter? Because if it doesn't, then it's not worth it, you guys. It is not worth it. Some of you are raising children and they are growing up in front of your eyes. And every week you're allowing this week's problem to be a bigger priority than them. And this week's problem, and this week's problem, and this week. And next thing you know, 18 years worth of weekly problems has stolen their childhood. Is it worth it? I challenge you to ask yourself today, when you look at your children, when you look at the children in your childcare center, when you look at your grown children, was it worth it? And if you can say no, obsessing over my problems is not worth my children's childhood, then stop today. You have a choice. You have the power. Take your power back. Stop allowing your problems to run your life. Stop allowing your problems to steal your life, because that's what you're doing. I know they're big and I know they're huge, but how much power are you allowing them to have? Do you want to wake up every day walking into your life thinking, oh God, it's another day? Or do you want to wake up every day thinking, thank God it's another day? That is your choice. 100%. And it all starts with how you allow problems into your mind. It all starts with how you allow, how you choose to think. You want a perfect moment today? Go create a perfect moment. A perfect moment only needs to last 1 minute. For me, I'm in an area where we got pounded with snow. We don't usually get this much snow, and it is a beautiful winter wonderland. I can choose to look outside at my driveway. I just bought a house that has a giant driveway, and I could choose to look out and think to myself, oh my gosh, that's a ton of snow to move. How am I going to do this? I don't have the time. I'm going to have to hire someone. It's going to cost me money. And oh my gosh, it's a disaster because now I had to pick a house with this giant driveway, and now I have this huge problem because it's covered in ice and snow. And I've been gone for 4 days, and now I come home, and my driveway is a skating rink, right? I could look every morning at my front yard like that, or I could look out my window every morning and think, thank you, God, for blessing me with this land that I have now that actually requires such a big, beautiful driveway for me to drive through. That just means I've got more land. It is really how we choose to see it. So my challenge to you this week, every morning when you wake up, before your feet even hit the ground, I want you to ask yourself, how am I going to choose the day? Am I going to choose today to be one of those days that I say, oh God, it's another day? Or am I going to choose to make today the day that says, thank God it's another day? Am I going to choose to walk into my day full of problems? Or am I going to choose to walk into a day full of possibilities? So let me know as you guys are going through your week, post in our group, how did you choose opportunity over problem? I hope everybody has a beautiful week full of opportunities and blessings. Remember, it is absolutely your choice. Bye, everybody.